Welcome to Lango, the best minutes of your day with Bill and Krista. Hi, Bill. How are you today?
Good. How are you, Krista? You might have noticed my environment's a little bit different. I got chased out of my studio for just one episode, so please apologize, for the different lighting and things.
No worries. No worries. How have you been doing?
Very good. Thank you. Looking forward to talking to everyone today about today's subject, which is Shakespeare. William Shakespeare, the Bard, one of the most famous playwrights and writers in English history, hugely influential upon the language, actually, with sayings and idioms to the point where people don't even know they're saying Shakespeare when they say these things. So that is our theme for today.
All right. It sounds like you're breaking the ice with a little bit of background and helping us feel comfortable. Break the ice is an example of using Shakespeare that we probably never knew. So, break the ice is doing a small thing that will help you and your fellow people that you're with or audience feel comfortable. So, for example, you might break the ice by talking about the weather, or if you're in a conference, you may say a joke to help people feel relaxed and just kind of warm things up a little bit. So, break the ice is a phrase that was actually a phrase that was brought about by Shakespeare in The Taming of the Shrew. And this was a scene where Tenario was talking about the problem of wooing the ice cold Catherine. And he said, you know, just get to know her father, and that will help break the ice. And so, thus, the term was born, break the ice. What do you think of, Bill, when you hear that saying?
Uh, what's interesting to me about this one is it seems so obvious now, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
To us, perhaps.
right, exactly. Cold
Mm-hmm.
relations between people. Cold is always used for when you're not friendly with people. If you're warm, you're friendly. If you're cold, you're not. So if you're trying to break the ice, you're trying to break through not being friends. It's like, okay, people just thought of this one. And as it turns out, no, it actually came from a play, came from the playwright, came from Shakespeare. So I frankly was really surprised when I learned that this one came from him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and an example of breaking the ice would be to just, you know, come across very cordially and say, breaking the ice can be as simple as, how are you doing? Like what I just did with Bill, to sort of ease into the conversation and not have such a big jump, like not just jumping right into it, but helping to sort of smooth things over. So I would say, as an example, I went to a party and I wanted to break the ice with a new friend that I was making. And so I complimented her on her necklace. That would be a way to break the ice. And then you're just sort of, putting that person at ease. Another one could be that I was in a business situation and I was getting ready to start a presentation. And there's always that tension at the very beginning. And you even can use the breaking the ice technique to help calm yourself. Because if you get people relaxed and you feel more acquainted with them, I went to the business meeting and I was determined to break the ice by starting with a casual joke. So, do you have any examples of breaking the ice, Bill?
Well, I think those are both excellent examples. I think the only thing I would add is To break the ice is the verb version, the action version. There's a noun version, an icebreaker. And it's very common at business meetings or casual parties, like you said, Krista, to have an icebreaker in your mind and use it to relax people, as you said. So
Mhm.
maybe the next time you're preparing for a meeting or for a party, maybe just go into the search and type icebreakers, and it'll give you some ideas for what to do for that.
Good
Turning to our
suggestion.
second one, if we want to do that. So I've got one from Hamlet, which is another play, of course. This one is an example of what we call an aphorism. An aphorism is like a short sentence with a moral message. They come from many different places. And again, I didn't realize this one came from Shakespeare and Hamlet. Neither a borrower nor a lender be. In other words, don't borrow money, don't lend money. Why? What's the moral? Well, if you borrow money, you are locked into, a lower relationship with the person that gave you the money. And don't be a lender, because if you give it out, you might not get it back. So this is an aphorism. Neither a borrower nor a lender be. You have any thoughts on this one, Krista?
Just that aphorism is such a big, intimidating word, and it doesn't need to be. It's just a moral message. And neither a borrower nor a lender be is something you can say as a, as a saying if even if somebody like comes to you and says, "Hey, I'm I'm out of money. I need $5 right now." You can use this phrase, neither a borrower nor a lender be. And it's basically saying, sorry, but I can't lend you money right now. It's just against my philosophy. Do you have any examples, Bill?
No, I think that's a really good example. You can use it as a way to make your argument, while kind of separating yourself from it by using this simple sentence in this way. So I think that's really good. And again, most people would not realize it came from Shakespeare. So that's our moral for today. What's our next example that we have from Shakespeare, Krista?
A heart of gold, which is something that basically means someone who is kind and generous and very positive and giving. A heart of gold. When I think of a heart of gold, I think of like my grandmother who was always baking us cookies and saying nice things to us, or my mother-in-law who I loved dearly, and she was always very positive and uplifting. So both of them really had hearts of gold. And this came from a Shakespeare play. Let's see. Um, which one did it come from? Oh, it came from Henry V, Shakespeare's play Henry V, which King Henry goes in and he dresses himself, he disguises himself as a soldier, and he's trying to figure out the moral of his army. And so he says to Pistol, uh, "Hey, am I a better man than the king? Does Pistol consider himself a better man than the king?" And Pistol says, "No, the king has a heart of gold." So he's saying, "No, I'm not better than the king. In fact, the king is very warm-hearted," and he is suggesting that he's admiring the king. So a heart of gold. He said, the king has a heart of gold. And when you do something nice for somebody, or you are the recipient of something nice from somebody, you can compliment them or talk about them as having a heart of gold. Do you have any thoughts on that one, Bill?
That's a really good explanation of it, Krista. I can see how someone might think saying you have a heart of gold is bad, like you're greedy. But no, not greedy, good. You want to be seen as having a heart of gold. And again, yes, this can be used for really anybody, family, but friends, and even people you don't know that well. If you just know they're nice and giving, you would describe them as having a heart of gold. And that's definitely a good thing to have.
Mhm. Yeah, and when you think of
Mhm.
gold, you think of something like a very valuable metal. Um, so when you put together the the gold, which is very valuable and pretty, with the heart, which is often thought of something dealing with emotions, then you get this heart of gold. So yeah, and Bill, you have another one for us.
Yeah, one more for today. This is also from Hamlet. Apparently, I got stuck on Hamlet for some reason. This is cruel to be kind. So, to be cruel is to be mean, to hurt people very badly. That's cruel. Cruel to be kind. Kind is good, right? When you are kind, you help people. Maybe you have a heart of gold. So, what in the world does it mean to put together cruel to be kind? The idea here is sometimes you have to be a little mean to people, maybe to get them to do the right thing. I think my example, unfortunately, comes from parenting, where sometimes we kind of have to push our children a little bit, be a little mean, not cruel, hopefully, but a little mean to get them to do the right thing. I'm not going to go into any specific examples with my kids, but I will say that sometimes it's part of parenting, cruel to be kind. So, do you have any maybe better examples than mine, Krista?
Well, to piggyback on your children, your own children, say you have an adolescent that you're raising and you notice that they're smelling a little bit, which is not uncommon.
I like
You
this.
might have to be cruel to be kind by telling them, hey, you need to go wash up or put that deodorant on. So you're being a little bit cruel. It's not something they want to hear necessarily, but it is the kind thing because it's just a little bit more socially acceptable to smell okay than to not. So in that instance, you'd have to be a little cruel to be kind.
Krista,
Yeah.
that example is genius. That is perfect. Yes. You normally don't want to tell someone they stink, but they're better off hearing it from you than they are hearing it from a stranger out on the
Mm-hmm.
street.
Mm-hmm.
So that example is genius. So I'm going to use that as an opportunity. Normally, we try to tell like a story involving all of these. Krista, do you want to take a crack at that?
All right, I will. I'm going to break the ice by telling a little vignette about when my son was very young. And, maybe he was a little bit rank, he did, smell very stinky. So I had to be cruel to be kind to him and let him know, hey, I've got to tell you something. I don't mean it to hurt your feelings, but I've got to be cruel to be kind. And you need to go take a bath or a shower. Now, really, in doing that, I had a heart of gold because it's not an easy thing to say to somebody, but really it was something very loving to do. So in that instance, I had a heart of gold. So that's my little example. And I just
I
want to go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's a great example, and again, I might do this. I might switch this like into a business context, even. I think using those same two. So suppose you're at a first business meeting with a new supplier, right? They supply your company. And so you have a little icebreaker. You say, just tell me a little bit more about your company and what about your family, right? Let me tell you about my family, and then I'll ask you some questions about yours. It's a way to get to know the person, to get to know the company, to break the ice. And then you know that there are several of your colleagues at work who don't like this supplier. They have problems with them. You might say, look, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to be a little cruel to be kind here. I need to let you know that there are people who don't like your company, right? No one wants to hear that their company is disliked, but you're doing them a favor by letting them know that they might have some challenges talking to the people in your company. So, does that give you a heart of gold? Not quite. I mean, you're protecting your own company, right? But it is certainly cruel to be kind. So, there's my story ish for today.
Okay. All right, Bill. And I want to remind everybody to like, subscribe, and share this YouTube video. If you found it helpful, please spread the word. And Bill, we have a little bit of a contest pertaining to our Shakespeare phrases. Do you want to explain that?
Yes. So maybe two different tracks. First, vote for whose story you liked more. We'd love to see that. There's a little competition between us. And you can participate in that. But most of all, we would love to hear if you know of any other examples. And if we like your example out of all the examples that we receive, Krista has a little something for you. What's that, Krista?
Well, I'm an instructor of English, and as the founder of Ulango, I will give you a half an hour free session to practice your English skills and get a little help with that. Maybe we'll talk about some phrases that may not be that common in English to help you perfect your conversation skills. So you can book a session with me directly off of my calendar, which can be found at ulango.com. That's OOLANGO.com. And Bill, you have a little something special as well to help our listeners with their English. What is that?
Absolutely. So I am a teacher of English as well, but my main thing is a newsletter. If you head to winningenglish.substack.com, you can sign up for my newsletter where I explore all kinds of topics around English and focus on idioms and sayings, kind of like what we get from Shakespeare. So please go ahead and check that out. I have 70 plus episodes / posts already, so you can spend some time with that, and I hope you do that. For example, in a post I did on Shakespeare, I talked about how there's a popular song, Cruel to Be Kind, by Nick Lowe. You can find a link to that in that latest one.
And I will spare you. I will not sing that song for you.
You have a heart of gold, Krista.
Thank you. Yes, you know my singing skills.
I don't. We'll have to hear that someday.
Oh, no.
Here.
Go to the link in Bill's newsletter and you'll hear the song. I promise you it'll be much better than me singing it. So, all right, Bill. Well, you do have a heart of gold by providing that information to our listeners. It's a great resource. I encourage everybody to go to winningenglish.substack.com to check it out and subscribe to his newsletter. You'll get a ton of different sayings and resources. And how much does it cost, Bill?
It is $0.
That's
it is
why
free.
I tell you, that's why I tell you, you have a heart of gold. You want people to learn these things. So
I do.
It's fantastic.
And of course, again, sign up at ulango.com for lessons to continue your education in English. So yeah, thanks to all of you for watching. This has been fun. Subscribe again, hit that subscribe button, and you'll get all of these episodes as well. So thanks, Krista.
All right. Thank you, Bill. See you guys later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.